Yes, good afternoon. It is Thursday and it's a very bright, shiny day outside. This is your host, Leonard Gildarie of the Wake Up Guyana show. Wake up and smell the coffee. It's a very important day because it is one day away from Friday. And Friday is when it's the end of the week for some working people. However, the media people don't sleep and they don't stop working. And I can tell you that from first-hand experience. So, welcome once again. It is Thursday, September the 24th, 2020. And we're getting on in the year 2020. In another couple of days, we are going to be heading into the last quarter of 2020. And like we've said so many times before, what a year it has been. There's big news developing now with regards to those students who wrote CXE, or CSEC as we would know it, Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, I think it is. They're big news because right across the Caribbean, you would know that results came out early this week for grade 6 exams, and also the following day, it was announced that CSEC results, CAPE results came out. You would know also that the CXC, there's a regional body, they would have been in charge of marking those papers. Well, there's unhappiness now, growing unhappiness with maybe some of the ways that it was marked. At least two big schools, that is Queen's College and Bishops, have come out with statements that they need a review, and the government says that it is engaging CXC at the moment. And we are going to bring you that story as we go forward on this day here. So it is Thursday 24th, 2020, and you are tuned in to the Guyana Wake Up Show here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. And we're coming to you live from the Kaieteur Radio studio here on Saffron Street, 24 Saffron Street, Charlestown. And we're broadcasting to you right across Guyana on 99.1 FM. And you could catch us on that in Demerara as well as Essequibo, there's Essequibo Coast. And we know we have so many people right across the Essequibo there, and I have so many mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers now that I've lost count. So we have some very warm people. And of course, 99.5 down in Berbice. I want to say a good day to our publisher of Kaieteur News, Mr. Glenn Lal, wherever you are. So I know that you're listening. You don't say anything much, but you would come back and says that I don't like that story that you read there. But I want to say a good day to you, sir, and may you have a blessed day until we meet. And after that, we'll see what happens. But we want to open the lines in a very short while because it's all about you guys. It's all about waking up Guyana and making sure that you have your say in the story of Guyana and whatever happens. What we could also tell you, some of the breaking news, we have nurses on the West Demerara area as well as in Region 10, and they are striking or protesting for a different reason. In Region 10, the nurses, their frontline workers, are protesting for late pay. Across the river is for better conditions, better pay. So that's what it is. And so, in the meantime, let's see what else is happening. Kaieteur newspaper here. It is September the 24th edition, Guyana's most popular, largest selling daily. Get your copy, pick it up. You got to get it early, and if you're not getting it, let us know so we could be able to put more copies there. And I want to say thank you very much to the Minister of Education, Priya Manik Chan, who have picked up many copies there and get it across to the people down in Leg One who would not have been getting the copies of the newspaper. Those are for the students who need to get hold of the newspaper, to be able to access some of the lessons that are in it. So thank you very much, Priya Manik Chan, Minister Priya Manik Chan, for that. Let's get right down into your favorite newspaper and see what are the big headlines that are making the news today. And so the top of the newspaper there on the masthead, breach of duty-free concessions. CJI's Chinese contractor illegally use equipment for movie town construction. And if you don't understand what we're saying there, let me explain to you what the situation is very, very quickly. You would recall that it was in 2011 that it was announced that this Chinese company, China Harbor Engineering Inc., engineering company that is, would have been granted or awarded a contract for $150 million expansion of the Chedijagan International Airport, and Guyana was intended to make this the hub the hub of the northern tip of South America there, and is saying that it would be a good place because of where we located strategically to see whether we could have direct flights to Africa. Not such a bad idea. It was all, when you would have looked at the contract that was signed with the Chinese contractor, an analysis of it would have found that the prices were astronomically high. And so there were a lot of concerns over that. But then Guyana settled along and says, okay, we're going to get a new airport. And we already took a loan of 138 million. Guyana had to find 12 million. So that's how the 150 million came. And we were settled to get an airport. Guess what happened? Somewhere along the line, somebody made a decision for us to reduce the scope of the airport, but the contractor would still have their price. They still are being paid whatever they're being paid. And so at the end of the day, they were given what you would call concessions. Concession mean, okay, you don't, because you're coming in here, you're building something that is of this nature here, we're not going to allow you to pay taxes because these are consistent with what happens when you want to do these big projects here. You give it some tax concessions, and maybe that filters down to the contractor as well. Building materials, you were talking here about containers and containers and containers of roofing material, of steel, of lights, and whatever it is, electrical fittings and wiring and so on. And these things are worth millions and millions of dollars. They were all given that tax free, duty free. You don't have to pay anything on it. And so, in addition to that, they were also given equipment like trucks and whatever heavy equipment that you would bring in. And this company here, while they're building this airport here, was also accused of using this equipment here to build another place. And that is the movie tongue. Movie tongue, is completed. It's all shiny and new. And people have been using it for a couple of years now, maybe 2 years now. And so in the meantime, Guyana's airport has been dragging on almost, this is 10 years now, 1 decade, 4 presidency. It started with Bajagdio, then you had Donald Ramachar, and then David Granger, now President Ali, 4 presidency. But this president seems as if he's not going to take it. It is a big shame. It's a big eyesore, and what we have gotten there is a renovated airport, not a new airport. So the Chinese company China Harbor would have been reportedly, allegedly accused of using their equipment on Movitong. Now, when you were given this equipment and these concessions specifically for the airport, you cannot sell those materials. You cannot use the trucks to do any other thing except on the airport. These people here have started the Pegasus Hotel expansion as well. How do we know that they're not using it, their equipment there also? In the meantime, our airport is not completed. If you start getting the picture where we coming from, so it's highly legal to use this equipment. There's specific barriers which would bar the contractor from even thinking of using those equipment. And many times we've seen the story that's emerging over the years. There's been lax monitoring of these contractors when they come to Guyana as to what they're doing. And so we're paying the price for it, because at the end of the day, when we have to look at what we're getting or what we're not getting, the final responsibility falls on the supervisors and the others who would have been hired. We pay an independent supervisor, independent engineers to monitor these projects. And in the case of the airport, this 8 million, this 1.6 or almost 1.7 billion dollars you're talking about for one company, just to make sure that China Harbor is doing what it's supposed to do, and Guyana is getting what it's supposed to be getting. But the main headline here in Kaieteur News today, it's a shocker. 3 days before elections, Lands and Survey boss Trevor Ben bought $25 million Prado for $2.5 million from his own workplace. That this is a very strange story. What the story is saying is that the board of Lands and Survey, which is a government agency, a government entity, which is charged with looking after our lands, our state lands in Guyana, and they would give it out whether you want it for farming and whatever else it is. They're the ones who are tasked with managing that, and this is separate from the mining lands and so on, where GGMC has some kind of authority there. But in any case, This gentleman here was a boss. He was the chief executive officer or the commissioner that's there. And in 2016, this is a story. In 2016, Mr. Ben, according to the story here, went online and he bought a new Toyota Prado, and you know these vehicles don't come cheap. It's a SUV. Land Cruisers are very good vehicles, and so when you would have checked the price, if you were to land it here, it's going to be in excess of maybe 20 something million dollars for a new one, at least. And so he bought it in 2016. In 2018, according to internal documents there, they would have the board took a decision that if you're working there as an officer and if you are using one of the vehicles belonging to the lands and survey, you could be able to buy it after 3 years. You have the first preference to buy it. So that is according to what is said was a decision taken in 2018. On 3 days before election, this is a Friday, this is 28th of February. This is on the Monday was the elections, which is March the 2nd, I think it was. On February the 28th, the board took a decision that it's going to sell Mr. Trevor Ben, this vehicle here, this Land Cruiser Prado, and he got it for not $25 million. He didn't get it for $16 million. He did not get it for $10 million. He got it for far below price than what you would buy for a used or a reconditioned Premio or Allion on the Wharf, which is over $3 million. He got it for $2.5 million. So the story is here. I think he has been sent on leave. He was sent on leave a couple of days back. On 42 days, he was asked to hand over a report stating what he would have done. The government that came in on the year finale would have been questioning some of the transactions from the lands and survey. And so here it is that this story has come out now. Now, I'm not sure what is wrong with the story in that if there's an agreement that a staff who is working there to buy a vehicle maybe after 3 years that has been assigned to him or her, whether that's consistent with human resources policies right toward Guyana, but it's something we need to look into. What is very, very strange that I'm not sure that Guyana would have heard of any other cases like this. Where else, what other agencies in Guyana would have been seeing this? So we gotta pay attention. We have to keep looking at the story, see where it goes. He is on 42 days leave, and so $25 million within 4 years. They say that this is Lands and Survey did their assessment of this vehicle, and they said for $25 million Land Cruiser, which is $25 million is going to be like about 110,000 US dollars, I think, around that. Glenn, if you listen to me, I think around that. So what you have happening here right now is that they valued it as of March for $2.5 million. I guess you have some accountants out there, and you guys could probably do your math and things like that and tell me whether it's so very quickly that a vehicle could depreciate and so on. And from $25 million within, if it was bought late 2016, whether in late 2020, which is about 4 years later, and it's around the same time thereabouts, it would be about 4 years now, whether it could depreciate to what it is from 25 million to 2.5 million dollars there. There's about what fallen to about 10% there, 10% of the value there. So this is an interesting case. 609 million bailout for civil aviation due to COVID-19. You know, civil aviation is a regulatory body that's in charge of the country's airspace, and they'd have to be as for us to keep our certification with international regulations with other countries and so on. There's a whole bunch of stuff. In addition to that, pandemic would have hit the revenues of this aviation, the Civil Aviation Authority, badly this year because of no flights and so on. So they need some help there. Guyana can still make hundreds of millions from studying oil block data. This is another one that we should be very angry about. This company here that is here, the companies that are coming in here, when they do their assessment of the oil blocks or so, Imagine we own those oil blocks and we giving it to the companies, the oil companies, to have their exploration done. And we have no idea when they do their explanation. We have no idea what they found. They're just saying, "Look, we found this, this, this." So the story that's coming out now, if Guyana has that, it could be able to make millions more, hundreds of millions more, from being able to making the right decision based on what is presented. However, in this particular case, there seems to be that Guyana seems not to be interested in it. We're not even sure what is it that we want, what was it that we should get. So it is a story that is developing right now. Guyana 134 million to complete badly mismanaged 31 million Sheriff Mandela expansion road project. And so this is another one. If you drive the back road there on a daily basis, or whenever you're going up, maybe from the East Bank to the East Coast, it's in a horrendous state. It's a nightmare to drive. There's so many potholes. You got to be dodging, and then the traffic is terrible. Then there's the construction that's going on. This company here that's been doing it, been given. This is another Chinese company now, China Railway, I think it is. Been given the project to manage the Mandela Avenue project. Guess what? It has been dragging on and on and on. It seems as if there's a sickness when it comes to us taking loans and whenever we got to manage this project. I'm not sure whether it is that we lack capacity, whether it's corruption, whatever it is at the end of the day, there's a growing intolerance and there should be anger from our people with regards to these projects here. We should not be too happy with it. We should not, at this point in time, we should not tolerate it. We should tell them somebody has to pay. We should be putting sanctions against some of our local engineers for allowing this to pass. When we hire overseas engineers or engineers, independent engineers, aside from government engineers, to manage this work, to make sure that the contractors are doing what they're supposed to do, and they don't do it, then these engineers have to be blacklisted. It's simple as that. You're looking after my money and you drop the ball. President Ali Others pay final respects to murdered Burbistine Harish Singh. And so this story is dragging on. We don't seem to be getting any closer to arresting, to charging some people with regards to not only the murder of Harish Singh, but for Isaiah and Joel Henry, three teens killed, and we don't seem to have any motives why they were killed. What we do know is that for a couple of days, it was a terror on the east coast of Demerara or on the West Berbice area there, where people were locked off from either visiting Berbice or leaving Berbice or leaving from here to go to Berbice. And so what you have happening there, people were beaten, vehicles burnt, and it seems as if the motive could be pointed to several directions here. So we're gonna wait. Let me don't give my more liberty. There's several theories that are coming out here that are pointing in a different direction. That might not necessarily be a race issue. It could have been something else. And so we're gonna wait and see what happens. In any case, the weeks are ticking by, and Guyana has asked for international help for that. Linda Norris protests for COVID-19 risk allowance, other issues. And I think they've gone back there today. New data shows COVID-19 aerosol could that shows that COVID-19 aerosol could spread disease. Nations should also wear face masks in enclosed space, and this is spaces. And this is a health minister, and so we got to be very careful. Every single day, the numbers go up. I understand that there might be even more deaths today, and we should be expecting this. The number of cases has been rising in a big manner, big leaps, and so we could expect these deaths to come. And you would recall, we did report yesterday that a 25-year-old man was one of the latest that died. And so it isn't anymore about our senior citizens here. It is about everybody who could be affected so I don't think we have internet here. In any case, Starbuck block development, field development costs estimated $60 billion, 60 billion US dollars. Do you know what 60 billion US dollars? I don't have an idea, but it's big time money. And so This is what Exxon Mobil. Are we ever gonna, the question that has to be raised is whether we're gonna be making that kind of money from our oil blocks, meaning Guyana. But we've been handed a bill, or we've been handed costs, which says it's $60 billion US that is going to be costing for the Stabroek block. I mean, I can't even begin this, but how involved is the government of Guyana in the capital costs associated with oil projects? So here's the big issue. You own a house or you have a plot of land, you want to go build a house on it, and you give the contractor, and the contractor comes back and tell you it's 150 million to build that house. You know right across the land that you could build a house of $10 million, but you have that cost. That cost for those projects there that comes up $60 billion. So the question is being asked here now: how involved is government in the capital costs associated with oil projects? What are they doing about it? Do we have the capacity to deal with these costs that are being handed to us? So we have to be very, very careful about this entire thing, about what we've been handed, and we don't have the capacity. And what are we doing about it? We have a story here about the inmate escaping from the burnt section of the Lusitania prison. We got to find these people here. We cannot have our people escaping from prison. If it's a couple, I could understand that there's a breakout. When one person is escaping and nobody sees, it means that something else is happening here. Aurora Gold denies bringing in scores of Chinese workers, ditching local contractors. I'm glad they're responding. So it means that we shouldn't be seeing any kind of application for large number of Chinese coming in here. Let our people get the jobs. Let them get their jobs. We need jobs in Guyana. You can't do that. No company should be doing that in Guyana. Man who was arrested for Barbie murder insists we don't know anything. So, and this is the uncle. I think this is the grandfather, and he would have cleared the air. He would have said that, I don't know anything. He was the initial suspect, the landowner, the coconut estate owner, who was arrested initially. And there's an interesting story here. Security service supervisor caught shoplifting at Gippsland Mall, and he didn't go to steal food. He went there and he allegedly stole a slippers. And so, we have to be very careful. Now, he's going to probably lose his job. He's going to end up in the courts. He was a supervisor. He wasn't an ordinary security guard or anything. And it doesn't matter where you're working. We should have some dignity. We should have some degree of honesty there. And so if you go in there and you're a security guard, after they question him, they had tags on the slipper which triggered some kind of alarm at Gippsland, which has, if you walk out with something, you don't pay for it. They don't take off those tags. You could trigger some alarm. That's how they knew, and that's how they caught him with the slippers. So he didn't steal food or anything. He allegedly stole a pair of slippers there, a name brand slippers. That's about 21,000. So a lot of money for slippers. What kind of slippers is that, Raj? It's an expensive slipper that we're talking about here. So at the end of the day, we got to be very careful in what we do whenever we have a job. Let's care it. So I want to say good day to whoever joined us, wherever you join us from, right across this beautiful land of ours, from Berbice, from Demerara, from Esquimalt, all the taxi drivers, all the minibus drivers, all the hire car drivers, the passengers as well, all the housewives and the house husbands and the students. This morning I walked in, those children who are at home and who are privileged enough to be using the internet and are having classes via Zoom, it is going to put some burden on to the parents as well. I was thinking about it this morning. You have to have on the fan. The kids are there in the cramped up corner, and they're doing what they have to do. But there's so many challenges that has come out because of this whole education process, and so many things that this COVID-19 pandemic has thrown to the people of Guyana. So we'd have to look into it. So I want to say good day overseas, wherever you guys are joining us from, whether it's Canada, whether it's the US, Europe, or right across the Caribbean, of course, our neighbors, Suriname, Venezuela, Brazil. I know that we have a couple of people there who have been tuning in. French Guyana, and of course Trinidad and Tobago and St. Lucia. those guys would have been coming on to us. And as we say a good day to the guys down in St. Martin, a couple of the folks there, even the BVI, they would have been coming to us. I want to say good day to you. So before we go on, let me tell you a couple of things what the Ministry of Education would be saying here with regards to the CXC result, because this is very important. Thousands of persons would be looking out for it. The Ministry of Education to engage CXC on possible grade changes for students. So the Ministry of Education, um, Guyana is registering vehemently with the Caribbean Examination Council its dissatisfaction with the apparent poor grading of students at the 2020 CSEC and CAPE examinations. The Ministry of Education is concerned that there seems to be discrepancies with the grades that were awarded in particular subject areas to students across the country. The Honorable Minister of Education, Priya Manichan, has spoken to the Registrar of CXC and has expressed her concerns. That conversation will be followed up by a letter addressing the many complaints and a demand to have them addressed. The complaints by the students and the parents and the teachers, backed by statistics, range from discrepancies in teachers' projected grades and CXC final awards being significant in the results of many students. Maximum SBAs, this is school-based assessment scores, have been attained by students who believe strongly that they answered the multiple choice questions, many of which were questions repeat from previous years correctly, and yet they received previous grades. So something went wrong with CXC here, because this morning it was Bishop's High School as well as Queen's College issued separate statement. In fact, there were placards and so by some students at Queen's College. There was a press conference as well. There news coming out from the other islands as well. I think in Trinidad as well as I think was it Barbados or Jamaica. So there are growing concerns over what went wrong. We could understand a pandemic and things didn't go so right. But for us to get it so very wrong, if you're doing the SBA, the school-based assessment projects, it takes up part of your examinations, the scores at the end of the day. So when you write the orders, all you got to do is get above a certain mark, and you're guaranteed to have a particular grade. So the students are saying, we did so well in our SBA, we know what the mark is. You come back here, we did write the test, we know what some of the questions came in the previous time. So how did we do so poorly? So they have a right to ask for that. This is something that is going to really have an effect on the credibility of the CXC, the Caribbean Examinations Council at the moment. And so they need to get this right, and let's have some answers very quickly. They can't just brush it off and say nothing has happened, that there's a way how you could be able to look at it. So at the end of the day, we all have to pay attention to the CXC thing. I'm going to come back to you in a very short while on that issue there. But at the moment, it's a better value for better protection. Get your ship and cargo covered with us today. CARICOM General Insurance Company, Inc. at 121 Regent and Arnock Streets to better serve you. You can now purchase your insurance online from the comfort of your home. Telephone 225-1787 or 269-0020. CARICOM General Insurance Company, Inc. So to come back to what the CXC would have, what the Ministry of Education says with regard to CXC today. Students of schools that have been historically performing optimally in these examinations have been awarded poor grades in this year's CSEC and CAPE results, which represent a stark deviation from the norm. Nothing else in these schools have changed, including the teachers. The same students in Year 1 CAPE who did excellently scored poorly in Year 2. Schools which submitted all the SBAs within the time frame and received confirmation emails from CXC and received an upgraded result in some subject areas. They were unacceptable grades for integrated pure maths papers 1 and 2, and Caribbean studies at many schools. Students in Guyana and across the region are currently traumatized and disenchanted, something which we cannot accept. The Ministry of Education will leave no stone unturned and will pursue solutions with CXT until there is an acceptable resolution to the matter. We're still receiving more complaints and gathering information. The Ministry of Education is going to aggressively pursue this matter with CXT in the best interest of the nation's children. And that is a statement that is coming out from the Ministry of Education today. And we should not be taking it. I'm very happy that the Ministry of Education would have been taking this matter, and they acted on it, and they made a statement so very promptly. There's a lot of anger, and if you look across the Caribbean today at the newspapers in Trinidad, I think it's in Barbados as well, then you see bishops and queens, because when they look at it and it says, wait a minute, it's almost the same thing that came in the past came back again. These students would have been performing credibly well, and then you see them getting these kind of grades. Something has to be wrong. I don't know how CXE, which has a track record of managing exams, and in fact, I did write CXE so many years ago, and we never had any cause to complain. I'm not sure what happened here, but something did went wrong, because it's all pointing to that. It's not only Guyana, it's not only one school. I know that the one lady, a politician, I think is Rhonda Lamb, would have taken a beating. She is a teacher, and when she came out with this yesterday, raising alarm bells over the grades that some of the students who were expected to do well, what they got, she took a beating on it, and today it seems as if it picked up steam, and right across the Caribbean it would have picked up steam. A number of newspapers would have carried it, and so this morning this is at Queen's College as well as Bishop's High School would have issued statements. There would have been press conference. There would have even been placards that I saw that would have been there. So in the meantime, we are going to tell you. We are going to tell you that in a very short while we are going to open those lines. I want to talk to you guys there a little in Berbice. With regards to the Enmore thing, we could tell you that has been looked at by the Police Complaints Authority. You guys don't call me, complain about anything. It is being investigated at the moment. I'm going to check with the Police Complaints Authority with regards to allegedly a policewoman there that they say that is abusing. There's two sides to every story. I'm trying to get a police lady to give me a call. I'm not sure whether she's allowed, because she is a sovereign member of the Guyana Police Force. There's rules and regulations with regards to how you could speak to the media there and so on. But of course, we're not going to do anything until we hear all sides of the story. The matter is being investigated at the moment. So let me see before we go on. Is there any before we go to the lines, which is 226-7453, 226-7453. Within a couple of minutes, we're going to open those lines, and you could also send us those texts to 6222222. I want to say a good day to all who have joined us today on the Wake Up Guyana show on Kaieteur Radio. And let us get this show on the road. And this is coming from Mr. Derek. May Allah continue to bless you. We can blame the Chinese for all the corruption, etc. in Guyana, but let us be fair. It's the Guyanese from the top of this government to the local people that show the Chinese how to run things in Guyana. I want to say I agree with you, and I think this is a point that I made. How are we going to blame these guys when we are the ones who are supposed to? We are the ones that has the power to monitor them, and we had our local people monitoring them. How do you get them to tell you that you have to do the job right? And so he continues, how can we sit down with the enemy to destabilize our country, then complain? That's nonsense and lawlessness. Let's take, for example, a Guyanese woman with a Cuban create the biggest Ponzi scheme in Guyana. Why? Well, this matters before the court. I don't want to raise it. Do you think that the Guyanese can pull off a Ponzi scheme in other places and in Latin America? Warning to Guyanese, look carefully at Dubai now. All hotels are closed. No flights. The economy is hit by the lockdown, plus oil prices crashed, and they're headed for another debt crisis. Most of their migrant workers sent back to their country. But wake up, Guyana. let us bring some guests who are economists to explain what's happening in the world for the benefit of Guyanese brothers and sisters so they'll be able to understand the plight of Guyanese. Thank you very much, Mr. Derek Hawker, and he's brought us down to earth. Mr. Leonard, good afternoon. GT&T line phone service is not working in almost 4 years. On the Essequibo Coast, it's not good for the Guyanese, for the government offices, business, and the people of Essequibo. Please, we were asking the Prime Minister to look into this for the people on the Essequibo Coast. Normally, when I get a message like this, I'd send it straight to the particular minister and so on. In this particular case, I am making an arrangement for it to go straight to the Prime Minister, Mark Phillips. And I thank you very much for that. We did receive some complaints the last couple of days on that. Let me see what else is going on here. $60 billion US is roughly 1.2 trillion Guyana dollars. Thank you very much, my brother. And I can't even begin to wrap my head around that. You know how much money we're talking about there. So our budget right now is about 300 something billion dollars, Guyana dollars. And so when you look at that, when you're talking 1.3 trillion dollars, you're talking about a set of money there. So let us get our ducks all lined up in a row and make sure that we understand when somebody give us a bill and say this way what they got before you do anything. We need to recover the $60 billion in costs for your development there. So let me see if there's anything else that's happening. Hi, Leonard. I'd like to know if a returning migrant can apply for a piece of land to build a house and what is the process in doing so. Good question. If you're living abroad and you want to come back, there is a remigrant unit at the Ministry of, I think we have it in our Kaieteur newspaper. I would have read it out to you guys yesterday. Let me see, there's another newspaper. Could we get another newspaper yesterday? I'm going to get that number to you, but there is a, the boys are going to get it. I'm going to read it out to you in a very short while. Huh? Yesterday's newspaper, yes. The remigrant, there's a remigrant and diaspora unit that has been opened or established, and our boys are going to do it right here now. So they established it in the Ministry of Foreign Trade, Ministry of Foreign Affairs there. And so what you could do is to call them, and they could be able to tell you about those remigrant scheme. The remigrant scheme was an area that was set up in Providence there, and persons living overseas that they want to come back again, you could have applied for those pieces of land. It was not so very vibrant, or there was not such a continuation of such a scheme under the coalition, but it is something that I think they would have said that they're working on. I think this new administration, I think Minister Colin Crowell would have said that he's working on it to see whether they could introduce it back again. It's one of the big areas that they're looking for. And so let me see. I think we would have it here in today's. Just bear with me. Let me just read to you those numbers that you could call there. I think, let me see, the remigrant scheme set up again. And it's, okay, 1 second. So in the meantime, while we get up that number there, what I could tell you, okay, yes, here we have it here. The number that you could call at the ministry is 226 1606 1607 or 1608. 226 1606 1607 or 1608. And that's at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And you could also, there's an extension 339 or 340. So you could call that Diaspora and Remigration Unit, and they could tell you how to do it if you're living abroad. I hope that has given you some kind of light. So in the meantime, let me just bring this up back. So in the meantime, we have some other messages here. So just bear with me. I'm doing multitasking here. Good afternoon. Can Minister Rodriguez please come and visit the Prospect scheme to see how deplorable the road is? It's about 2 years now since the scheme was open. We have no access to water from GWI. So thank you very much. I think we did receive this complaint. I did forward it to the ministers, and I think it's something that they would be looking into. Let me see, there's some other thing. Before we go to the phone lines, I just want to get a couple of the messages out. Since the students are forced to do online classes, why can't UG ask the students to use the fees to pay for Wi-Fi service in the home instead? Very good suggestion. I'm not sure whether those students Uh, but it's a good thing where we could pass the money on back to the people. Um, Okay, I think that's about it. I think we're gonna head straight into the line and take some calls right now. There's not any call there. So 226-7453. Are you now joining us? It is the Wake Up Guyana show here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5. We're coming to you live on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook and also Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube, and it's 226-7453. Please send those messages to 6222222. Let's hear you. Let's be able to read some of those questions, queries, comments that you're making with regards to what is happening in Guyana, what is affecting you, what you think about your government, what you think about the education system, what you think about the CXC thing. It has affected you, what would have happened there. So our boy says there's a call online. Go right ahead, call you on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Leonard.
Yes, it is. Go right ahead, sir.
I would like to refer to your topic.
Hmm.
Now, the thing about it is that the, there is a local content that has been put into the last contract with the ideal. So I don't know if you're aware of that, but there is a local content, and it should be addressed accordingly with respect to the contract.
Hmm.
Are you aware of that?
There is something there. I think there's some unhappiness. There's some unhappiness with. If you follow the story, there was an initial. It was a draft. They hired a Trinidadian, Mr. Anthony Paul. He came, did
That's
some
right.
work,
That's right.
and then afterwards, I think there was another gentleman. I think Mr. David Warner, who was accused of being an affiliate of Exxon, and he took out several of the safeguards that would have protected Guyana, give Guyana some more, and he took it out. And we probably would have something, but I think there's unhappiness with what we have.
Because all I read what Mr. Paul said, right? Mr. Paul is a specialist. All he said is that we must address the government must address the issue with caution. They must take a caution. But I have not seen, because I'm an architect, okay?
Yes, sir.
I have not seen, with respect to the contract, that there's any loophole or, leakages or any, you know,
I don't so
irrelevant.
agree. I don't have all the facts. Maybe another day, if you talk to our reporter who's a front line on that,
Okay.
she's going to tell you that there was several things that was pointed out. I think we carried several stories. I could tell you for a fact. I can't remember everything here. Forgive me for that. But what I could tell you for a fact is that Kaieteur newspaper would have carried several stories on the weaknesses of the amended or the local content policy that was amended by the next gentleman that came. Several parts of it.
Okay, but let me be honest with you. In
Yes, sir.
any contract,
Yes, sir.
you usually have like slippages in any contract.
Of course, I agree.
That's why you see we have things like there's provision for that.
Yes.
You have like variation, you have like alteration, you have like modification, and that is it. I'm in the system for a long. I used to be at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, and I know, and I don't think that should be an issue, because the bottom line is that if it has to well, the government said they will do it because it's a bad
I
thing.
think so. I agree with you. What we have to do as a country, you see, when you know what you have out there, there's an interesting story in the newspaper today here. I think it has to do with. Let me see what it is. I think it's at the bottom of the newspaper. Um, if they could probably use, let me see if I could get it. Okay, Guyana could make hundreds of millions from studying the oil block data. You see, if you start understanding what you have there, and we could probably start talking about how we could get it better, there's nothing stopping you or anybody asking for a better deal. This is, I think, because these contracts here is not something that is there that is to put into account. It's a live document that we continuously, as a stakeholder, you as a stakeholder, I am a stakeholder, everybody's a stakeholder.
Okay.
Could we look into it? How could we tweak it a little more? There's not, if and I think this guy, if you would have been following him a couple months back, several months back, I think last year, he was here too. Prime Minister Keith Rowley from Trinidad. He says if you're sitting at the table and if you have a deal and I am not happy, what kind of deal is that? So that's how they would have started to negotiate to get it better. And if you would have looked at it's not just us saying, it is what the international exports, because when you look at oil countries also, what they would have gone through, they got examples of those.
Okay.
It teaches you how you should, it's very early in the game for us. So
So you're hiccuping. There's a need for a review then. There's a need for a review of the contract.
I think that is what they've been saying for the longest while. All the experts and everybody, even the former advisor to the president, I think Dr. Yang Nangle, a couple of others, but no, it's not only him. You talk to several others international bodies who have been commenting and so on over the years. For the last couple of years, we've been carrying these stories, and they're pointing to the same direction.
Because I don't know if you know Mr. Mark Bino. He's a specialist, and he has been the man who was advising the government.
No, absolutely. Look, we're not saying that we're not saying that 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 people don't have a right. What we're saying is that it's early in the game, our investigation, because this thing is a lot of money. And when you would have people start texting you and telling you, start looking into this. We're not saying that Exxon may not have been genuine and when it came. We tell you when we looked at the contracts, when we looked at everything, and we did a comparison to what would have been the case in other countries, other oil producing countries. It points to a certain direction in terms of what you got. So I agree with you. You've raised a very valid point. But one these days, if you sit down and you talk to Mr. Glenlal and then our reporters who are handling it, they would be able to give you some very good ideas as to why we go in the road that we go in.
Okay, sir. Thanks very much. But I'm Mr. Grant, the architect. So I have been in contact. I've been at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure. Let me see, since 1985. But I come off and I'm in private practice now. I'm an architect.
Thank you very much,
So
sir.
thanks
But
very much.
it's good. It's good to ask questions. If you
Yeah.
don't know myself, I don't know all these things. It's some
Okay.
days it's such a complex industry, the oil and gas.
Okay.
That is, if it's going to take us a very long time unless you really pay a lot of attention and spend a lot of hours per day reading what is happening, because you have shale, you have a whole bunch of other stuff that comes out here, wind power and everything. So when you're talking energy, you're talking oil and gas, such a complex industry that you need experts for them. But however, if you're talking to the experts and they're going to point you in the right direction, you start reading, you're going to stand up, especially when our people are complaining about this and that. People complain about pensions, and so it start you thinking in a different direction what we should be getting as a country.
Because as I know, right? Because in contract you have clauses. And
No, you have that, you
terms,
have
you have
that.
terms,
But these
conditions.
things,
Yeah.
when you do a deal with a bank, like I went and take a mortgage a couple of years back, and they say every month you have to pay some money. It doesn't mean that I can't miss a month pay. There's
Okay.
things that could be done. I did go into them and says, look, I can't afford it this month. I can't afford my mortgage this month. I run into financial problem. Could you give me 2 months
Okay.
grace period?
Okay.
So there are
Okay.
things. The point is what I'm trying to say to you, sir, is that there are things that could be done. And I think the word that they use in the oil and gas is to claw back some of the benefits that really we should be getting. But I thank
Okay.
you very much for your
Okay. Thanks
observations.
very much for entertaining, for having me. God bless you.
God bless you too, my brother. Bye bye. And so, in the meantime, dear, I want to bring you some other messages, dear. Um, Let me see what we have here. Good afternoon, Mr. Leonard. I would like you to highlight the service GWI is given. It's not adequate. I'm not sure where in my bill since January this year. It's coming to a close. I can't get any resolution to that. I was told I've been disconnected. When query, I was told I was reconnected just like that. And still with that, I don't have any supply. When query up again this month, I did my querying with the region. I did query in Georgia, and I was told to meet management, who's a Miss Cannon. On 2 occasions, unfortunately, I went. She wasn't in there because of the COVID and everything was going on. I have to now go and get infected in there because of the negligence of GWI. Thank you very much. And this has been one of the many stories coming out of people, being frustrated. These big companies here, customer service is poor, beyond poor, and people complaining day in and day out what was happening. I hope this brings some resolution. Call You need to call, talk to the PR department, write letters to the newspaper, go on Facebook and start embarrassing them because they need to do a little better than this. Customer service is beyond ridiculous. Good day, Leonard. Guyana government needs to replace all Chinese company doing business in Guyana with U.S. companies. Those Chinese companies are all affiliated with the Chinese government. A government which is not a democracy, if they do not care about their own people, why does Guyanese government think that they would care about the Guyanese best interest? This is a situation which needs to be resolved immediately, and that is a thought there. I'm saying someone did raise a point a little earlier that we can't blame the Chinese so much. We got to blame our people. Why did we allow that? Because if you're there and you have to do this work, it's like a contractor that is there and he has to build a house. He cannot come to you every week and say, I want 15,000. And let me give you an example of what went wrong. And I got myself into trouble. I was building my house in Parfait Harmony in 2010. And I was all excited about it. I got a nice loan and a mortgage from the bank and was building. So the contractor says, I'm still friends with him, but I hold him, you know, I hold him with a 10-foot pole. That's how I'm not a drinking buddy with him. But he told me that this is what it's going to cost to build a house in terms of what he's going to take with his workmanship. And so he says it's going to take so much weeks and he's going to take so much every week. So I got on to the last week, run out of money, and he says he can't continue because he needs so much more money to complete a house. I was about to kill him, and my mom stepped in, God bless her soul, and the mom says, I'm going to pay it. I was mad. I was extremely mad at that particular day because you told me what is the price that you would have had to pay for that you wanted, or the cost of what you're going to take. And that is what it was. And now the absent taught me a couple of lessons. Contracts are very important. That you pay. What I should have done is every week I supposed to give him on based on the work that he's done, and I'm supposed to do a calculation on that. I didn't had any experience with project management, so I got I paid the price for that. At the end of the day, the point that I'm trying to make is that if you have a contract in Guyana and you hire independent supervisors, the supervisor is supposed to measure the work and says for this week here you did so. This is what we're gonna pay for you. And so you measure those works and there's a cost attached to it. And so if you can't finish it, you can't get paid. So is it that a government would take over and when they go check it, you're overpaid millions of US dollars? Is either that contractor, that engineering supervisor was not paying attention or there's corruption. There's only two. There can't be any, I can't think of any other thing. Maybe you could think of some other reason. But what I could tell you is at this point in time, we have to pay very close attention. So I hear what this person is saying here, and the fact is we have to blame ourselves as well. We can't blame the Chinese too much, but I agree with you. If you have done this to me once and twice, I'm not going to take you out back again. You are a bad person. You're not a good guest. You're not a good contractor. You have not been doing fair business in Guyana. So there's a call online as well. Yes. Pablo, my brother, we miss you, man. Good to have you back. I'm glad to hear you feeling better. I do not believe that anyone overseas should receive old age pension. This should be reserved for the residents of Guyana. It's simple, not right. Stay safe, God bless, and a hello to my brother Raj. Thank you very much, dear. And I think no, this is when he would have sent it a little early. Good afternoon to my brother Pablo. I see medical workers protesting in the street. I thought there was an allocation in the budget for them. Kindly shed some light. Um, I'm getting some details as to why they did the workers of Linden. Workers of Linden, this is the frontline nurses, said that they weren't paid. I am to get some details why they weren't. I haven't seen those details as yet. Guyana should transition to a cashless society. This will reduce the spate of robberies in the country. Transactions should be done with bank cards. What's so difficult with this? Can you pass this on to the relevant authorities? Very good point. People don't like to deal with the banks and cards and things like that. When you have cash, you could be able to do so many things. You could hide your income. You could not declare revenues that you would have earned through the government of Guyana. So that's why you remain it. It never shows up in the system and you could do whatever you want. If the minute that you put it into a bank, so they're going to ask questions, where did you get it from? And a whole bunch of stuff. If you put $1 million a couple of hundred. Even my salary, I try to put in, sometimes after not using that particular account, the bank start getting a little worried and start asking me, where do you got the money from? You need to have some questions here answered. So I hear what you're saying. Mr. Gildarie, well, this one here, the cash, I think the banks were looking at it, the authorities were looking at using more bank cards and less cash, and they haven't made any kind of progress, at least not big progress, that is. It is sad, it's sad how weak an opposition we have. They say the budget was a cut and paste from theirs, and at the end of it, they say that the budget have nothing for anyone. It only highlight the kind of population we have running for this country for the last 5 years. They only confirm that a budget has nothing for the people of Guyana. I've read in Kaieteur newspaper about the sale of the Prada for $2.5 million. This is the tip of the iceberg. I know of a contractor who's a supporter of the APNO AFC who's boasting of purchasing a said vehicle for next to nothing as a reward for supporting them during the election. The vehicle number is PVV 3984. Interesting story. So we're gonna be checking this in a very short while and see what happened there. Um, would like you guys to investigate and highlight the same. So people selling vehicles now as a thank you for supporting a political party. Good afternoon. Let me see what to say. Good afternoon, can you guys in studio? Good afternoon to you guys in the studio. God bless you guys always and be safe. I have a problem. In Venezuela, my son got 365. He got a school in Tong, but I'm living in Diamond. Where in Venezuela? I'm in Venezuela. My son got 365. He got a school in Tong, but I'm living in Diamond. Do you think that I should get another school? I thank you very much for that. I'm not sure what you want to do. You would have to decide whether you want to send this kid to Tong, whether you want to send him in Diamond. There's a couple of options. There's something that's going to be up to you. Diamond School, I think, is a decent school. If you believe that you could do a transfer and put the kid in there and he's eligible to go to that school, you could probably pursue that. But if you've gotten a school in Tong and that school you believe is a good level, talk about it. But there's a whole bunch of stuff there. I think one of the stuff that one of the things, the issues that I have is that these bank traffic in the morning. I can't stand it. I can't handle it. We need to do something very quickly. Do we have another call online? Yes. Good afternoon, caller. You on the air? Good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
I don't know if I'm on the right number
Yes. You're on the Kaieteur radio.
on the Kaieteur radio.
Yes.
Concerning the hamper, what do I have to do?
Well, the government says it's a hamper. I think it's about 45% of the country. And they have not put a website or anything where you got to put it to. When we get that information, they just announce that it is going to be a hamper. This is separate from the household $25,000 that they would be given to each household.
Okay.
So they haven't put out that information yet. I haven't seen it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. But keep following us and we're going to see as soon as we get it. So I am going to tell you about that. All right? Thank you very much, dear. So better value for better protection. Get your ship and cargo covered with us today. CARICOM General Insurance Company, Inc. at 121 Regent and Arnock Street to better serve you. You can now purchase your insurance online from the comfort of your home. Telephone 225-1787 or 269-0020. CARICOM General Insurance Company, Inc. So in the meantime, there, let us see some other thing. Do we have a... Oh, yes, here it is one. Hi, good afternoon. I'd like you to highlight this for me, but I hope though that you don't call my name where I live. There's a gentleman who has a shop, and every weekend he playing loud music, and next to him, this is in Sarah Johanna. He playing loud music, and next to him is a 76-year-old woman that is sick. And when she went to talk to him about the music, he told to go pack up and go somewhere. When you call the Timeri police station, them come in and they take him to the road, and he giving them money, and he come back in cussing up. So this is a story. A lady came to me from, I think it is Enterprise yesterday. Was it Enterprise or Boxon? I think it's Enterprise. And the lady complained about our neighbor fence hanging over the yard, and I had to call the former chairman of the NDC. Apparently they went and tell the neighbors, please remove the shed that is hanging over the thing. The neighbors them never did that. They've been issued about 3 or 4 orders. The lady's a pensioner, and she says, I'm not asking for any money or anything. All I just want this, all the water and everything is falling into my yard. I can't afford to go fix anything. And the NDC tell these people here that they should remove it, and they're not removing it. So I hear what you're saying. This is what's happening around the place. People don't care. People don't business about what is happening, about what the rules and regulations are saying. Just keep breaking the law. They keep breaking the law, and they have no respect for the law. But then again, what do you say? If the politicians are breaking the law, what about the people in Guyana? So we go back. Is there another call in line? Yes. Good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Hello?
Yes. Good afternoon. You are on the air. Go right ahead.
Yes, dear. Good afternoon.
Uh-huh.
I'm calling to find out something about the Ministry of Health. Now, do we have a minister within the ministry?
No, there is a minister. His name is Dr. Frank Anthony.
Yes, I'm okay. Now, why I'm say I feel that that minister is overloaded right now because to look at this crisis we going on plus other things, his hands is so full. He cannot have the time to supervise and to see what's going on in the hospital itself. The clinics them. I don't know if somebody need to go around to these clinics and see, because and another thing now, you can't go to the hospital to see a doctor except it's emergency. Now I don't know what, only sick people will go to the hospital, and if you're sick, I feel, now when you're seeing blood or somebody bust open, then you call that an emergency. Are you with me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Now only sick people will want to see a doctor. They say only looking at, since last year, September, October, I'm trying to see a doctor at the eye specialist. And all I'm getting date, up to this date, I cannot see a doctor. And I cannot see on one eye. And I've been going since last year. Now they say only emergency. You go to the ordinary clinic in the hospital. 6 months now I'm waiting to do an echo. They said because of the pandemic you cannot do this and they're not working. If you're not working, why are you turning up for duties?
You asked the right question.
Yeah, because you're getting a salary. Even if you tell me that you only get 10 person a day, I could understand of the crowd you don't want to do much. Even the doctors, but 6, 7 of them every morning gone up to the ward. The people them sit down waiting in the clinic, waiting to see a doctor. When the doctor do come down 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock, they just, sometimes the nurse themselves ask you if you want a refill or whatever. They just run you through and you gone. Nobody taking time out to check you out. I really think something needs to be done about these health centers and the supervision of the public hospital.
Well, a couple of months back, let me tell you, maybe you calling from a landline?
Pardon me?
You calling from a landline?
Yes.
A couple of months back, I clashed with a hospital. My kids, I'm not sure whether I said it over here, but my kids went to the hospital. He was complaining about some pains, and they took him to a particular private hospital. And the doctor who looked at him since he was small, a pediatrician, took one look at him and tell him that he has, I think, scoliosis. There's something when you have a curved back. He discovered that all of a sudden just by looking at this kid. And he was the one that was looking at that kid all the time. He took one look at the little girl, but there's my little daughter, and says, you have scoliosis too. Now scoliosis, he sent the wife to go do an x-ray. So the wife crying and called me. I said, well, go do the x-ray and see what happened. When you go to the doctor there who's doing the x-ray or the person said, well, I don't understand why you're sending 2 kids. Well, let me tell you a couple of things why I say that to you. Because the story has been coming out that most of these doctors at the public hospital, are also working at the private hospital. And so they divided the time. I'm not sure whether there's a policy, but we need to fix these things. If you're working at a private hospital, you work at a private hospital while you're working at and then we have
That's
so
right.
you have less service going to the people. That's one. 2, there's another thing that you have raised my alarm bells here now, and maybe sometime or the other we have to have this discussion. We spending billions and billions of dollars every single year on medical equipment and this and that and that. And you end up just having one maybe X-ray machine, maybe one echo machine, and one that. And if you look at the prices of these things online, I can't understand. We could even get these things donated to the hospital. Yet you hear just one of these machines. So when I hear things like this, it gets me very, very upset because like somebody's not thinking.
That's right.
These
That's
things,
right.
you know how much persons even overseas, some family would gladly donate this to the hospital if they ask for it. So I hear what you're saying there. I don't know what to say to you, but
I don't know. Since 6 months now, I'm waiting for an echo to be done. And every time I visited the clinic, asking me to go up and do a follow-up. When you go up there, the people, and some of them speak to you like if like you go in and beg them for something. They're like pigs.
yes, it is, and it comes back to customer service, right? We need to
Yeah.
get our act together.
We're going to call you, Mom. We're going to call you. We have your number. And 6 months now, you mean for tell me if you do, even if 5 persons, what they do whole day, you turn up for work and still in working. Well, why you come to work for collect a salary for?
I hear what you're saying, but these are things that we got to continue because so many people, especially when you know, like I worry all the time. I said,
Yes.
man, I wonder if I could ever afford, to go
I
to the
think the
private
minister
hospital.
I think the minister need another minister within the ministry to handle the smaller projects.
Right. Well, the minister doesn't really run the ministry like that. You see, under the system that they have right now, the minister is just a policy maker. He's supposed to go to parliament and do that. The ones who run the ministry really is the permanent secretary. The permanent secretaries are the what you call the chief executive officers.
Okay.
They're the ones who look after the hospitals and they deal with payments and this and that and so on. The minister
Okay.
isn't supposed to run nothing. The minister could only say, well, I've been briefed that such and such is the case. The minister can't run nothing. He can't.
Well, we need somebody else to look into some of the attitude of these people, the supervision of these people at the hospital and the health center. Some of these nurses believe they own the health center.
Right. And so, no, it is. We have to fix it, our health system. And like I said before, pandemic 2020.
Yeah, but you can't blame everything on the
No,
pandemic.
you have to. Pandemic 2020 has really exposed how weak our system
And
is, whether it's the
speaking
education
about
system.
that, excuse me, speaking about that, why can't the police, especially at Montreal Market on Saturday, how they just do campaigning for on their minibus? A couple of them can't come in plain clothes and collect everybody and charge them. You think it's two people is without man?
Oh, don't talk about that. I think, hold on. I saw a video this morning. I asked one of my girls to check it out, one of the reporters. The police went to Babujan Cemetery there. I think, I'm not sure if there's a cemetery there. I thought this was just Dr. Chetty Jagan, the remains there. But hold on. The police went there to a funeral and arrested people. You want me to say more to you? So I understand what you're saying. There seems to be, it
Now
seems to
these
be as,
vendors, these vendors are selling things like meat and whatever they're selling. They don't have a mask. So whatever droplets come out, let's say if one of them have this thing, whatever droplets come out from them is not dropping on the meat or the fish or the greens or whatever.
and you know what? A couple of weeks back, I was up in Rosal Market, and I love the market. Lots of fish and everything there. If you have an opportunity, go there. But let me tell you this: I saw a constable there. It got to be what do you call it? It got to be the city constable for Rosal or whatever. And he was going around, and just as soon as he see you, he's watching you to make sure that you have on your mask. But they were walking around there, like if you're talking like down there, they're supposed to have policemen there and so on. If you need to make some money, don't stand on the road. Go around by the market there. You can make some money if you need to
Of
take
course.
bribes. You're
And
gonna catch a lot of people.
Montreal Market is be so crowded. You got to brace each other to pass. And they don't have on mask and breathing in your face.
All right, I hear you, sister. Thank you very much. These are things. You raised
Yes,
some very important topics here.
thank you for listening.
Yes,
But
good day. And I did say something in my craziness a short while back. I don't, Gildarie, do not subscribe to any bribe or anything. So, policemen, don't take any bribe. Don't let me know. And don't let us catch you. make sure that you do a job. You're being paid to do a job. Do it. Do not ask me for a bribe. If you want me, if you want to ask me, you say, you call me aside maybe on a different day. You call Gildarie at Kaieteur. Could I have, my kid doesn't have money to go to school, something like that. Maybe we could find somebody to give you some money because I don't work a lot of money too. Good afternoon, Leonard. Someone bring up the topic with his hamper, but outside of that, we did $25,000 per household. But if there's 2 or 3 family for a house, which is very poor, which one of us family would claim ownership of the 25,000? This question did come up back in the past. If there's 3 families living in a house, the president says every household. It didn't say every house. He said every household. So he's talking there every family. If there's 3 husband and wife living in the place, that's 3 families here. I hope that answers the question there. And whenever they come up with it, I hope that is sooner than later because the clock is ticking, and we need to have that fixed. Let me see. Somebody's still calling us here. How come every night sleeping have so much people hanging out in the street and the police not doing anything about it? Because the Attorney General owns that place. Let me see. I'm not sure what this person is saying there. What is the Ministry of Education telephone number? Ministry of Education. I could get that right away for you. In the meantime, let me see what it is. In the meantime, I want to say good day. How are you doing, Riaz? Riaz is visiting us in the studio.
I'm good. Not bad.
What's the road like out there?
It's not that much of a traffic. Not that heavy of a traffic this Thursday. So seems like some persons at home or they're probably not on the roadways as yet. So that's that's a good sign. But we did see some relief back on the East Bank for the last
week. The East Bank has been really good.
And I think it's good because an average time from here to home to the studio is 50 minutes, and I've been within that time frame. But what happened is that it was because of the afternoon openings. Like yesterday, I think the bridge opened
in the morning
for vehicle traffic somewhere between the morning hours. Where it's either between 10:30 or 11, somewhere like about 9:30, 10, somewhere around there. But when it does happen in the afternoon, that is what did cause that amount of chaos. But I'll go again. I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. I think the police do is manning traffic in the afternoon. I can't say much in the mornings because I'm not the very brightest early morning person. The afternoon times, I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah, I think so. It's a tough job, It
is a tough job. It is a tough job, but I think they are doing it. They're doing a good job. They have a few bikes that's going to just patrol, make sure things are good. We can't stop the in and out boring. I've seen it. I sometimes just let it be, but I think the officers are doing a good job. They're at what we call the Rahaman's Dorn. They're just by Houston by the gas station there. They're back down by that Agricola outpost. They're back a little bit by Eccles. They're there. And I think they are doing a good job. They're doing a decent job when it comes to that afternoon traffic actually in it. I can't speak on the mornings. I speak on the afternoon.
Yeah, and you talk about driving there. Let me tell you something. If you could drive here, and I've had experience, if you could drive in Guyana and deal with those minibus and those mad people on the road.
But don't feel they can get some mad people in Queens and
hold on.
And Manhattan, I think they get some mad people right there too. But so don't feel we eliminating Guyana. But if you could drive in Guyana,
you could drive anywhere.
You could drive anywhere in the world.
Yeah, because of patience. I've seen some things in Guyana that you see. If there's 2 lanes that's going and there's a traffic jam. Yeah, we just make 3 and 4 and 5 and so. But I remember driving. I lived in St. Martin for a little while, right? In St. Martin for a little while, and they have some crazy roads up there. There's a road that's leading up to the prison. It's in the Point Blanche area where the ship comes to dock, the big cruise ship and so on. And so, wrong that turn there. I swear to God that the prisoners have one of the best views in the entire Caribbean. You could see the blue seas and so from where they're saying.
But listen, I drive one of my old car today. You notice I share old car here, right? Yes, I get share old car. I park one of my old car outside here. Here I try to do. I park in on the opposite side of Kaieteur. I try to park as close as possible to the curb, to the drain edge. Because I know them boys is around 3 o'clock, them boys is take out there and make it in a 3 lane. And one of me old car, I park it way down in a way down off, completely off the road. Like totally off. You could probably get maybe 4 feet after the white line. That's
Yeah.
how far I've parked it. One of the old cars.
Yeah, but I was telling you about St. Martin there. So you're going up to the prison. It's on the top of a hill, and for you to go there, it's winding. So I had the standard, the stick shift, and I was headed, and I don't know, like maybe one of the tires was smooth, and I went to the top of the hill and rolled backwards. And here you're going in a spiral coming down. You're reversing back. You can't stop because the minute you stop, is the sheer drop that you have into the side, into the cliffs below. So I always believe that what I learned there in terms of experience.
It's a great
The,
experience.
the,
Yeah.
the tourists would come there, and ever so often, if you have a car rental or a bike rental service, you better have insurance. You insist that they take
As it is.
insurance
Our
because
next-
there's every time you just hear a tourist gone
Our
overboard.
next somewhat rowdy place in driving is Panama and a little bit of DR as well too. Someone is asking to ask Raj about driving in India.
How's driving? in India?
Nanda
You know?
Pasod is.
Huh?
Cross driving, they don't follow the.
They just drive? But I think that it's in
They don't
Thailand.
follow
They
traffic.
don't follow traffic.
I saw, I think it was in Thailand or Indonesia, you see some traffic there, how these people taking, there's a barrier, and the barrier coming, bam, just like that, and you have to stop right there. If you don't stop it, the barrier crashes right down in there.
Jai Parashram said driving in Guyana is a joke compared to New York or Mumbai. Nah, I'll tell you what. I've driven in New York, in Queens, in Manhattan, passed through Bronx. Yeah, it is. It's a different experience. But if you learn to bore in Guyana, Raj is showing me some footage. No, there's no white line there, Raj. There's no
Somebody-
lines.
Yeah.
This is amazing. There's no lines on this road that Raj is showing me here, guys. And vehicles are coming right, left, all over. And there's no... That is an interesting one, the way of traffic in India there. Yeah, wow. India is something else with driving. That's what June Reese is saying. And say, India, everyone going everywhere. Well, that video that Raj just showed me, everyone looks like they were going everywhere and there were no lines on the road. But they get by with the mokshas and everything. They get by all together. But I encourage you to be careful on the roadways too. Wherever you're driving, as it is, however the culture of driving in your country, extreme, you be the careful one.
Not of course, and we got to
be
be
the
very
careful
careful.
one.
Be very careful in the road. So this is the Wake Up Guyana show, and we hope that we're bringing you some interesting things here. I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie, and of course we have with us here, keeping me company the last couple of days would have been W.R. Riaz. Always good to talk to him there. And if you're now joining us also, we tell you some of the big news. One man got a $25 million vehicle for $2.5 million. We got to chat about that.
Yes,
man. This is madness in this place here.
Yeah, I even saw the status is crazy on Facebook now that they're looking for a Land Cruiser Prado for 2.5.
I'm looking for that too because my car is getting old. I have a 2003.
Well, I get the old car out there.
I have
What
a
year?
2003, so I
I
need to
beat
sell
you
it.
by. I get 2006 buy. They're heady buy.
Grass. I don't- but
But it's an old car. You see what I'm saying?
no, but it is 2.5. It's a pretty good vehicle, and I think that's around my budget or something. I have to take a mortgage and a loan for that. I don't know. But at the end of the day,
Mr.
look,
Glenn gives loans. I could apply. You think if we
Glenn, we're gonna have a serious talk a little later. That's my favorite boss, my only boss.
I was going to ask you how much more you. I was going to.
No. There's a couple of bosses. There's a Glenn Lal, the boss, and then I have 3 bosses home.
3 bosses.
Three
Yes,
bosses.
yes. Respect
Wherever
that.
if they say
You-
sit, if you
You
go
know,
home
there's a suggestion of a new road name. You've heard of it yet? It went in Parliament just now.
what's all?
Were we looking to name a road the Nigel Darmlal Road?
Yeah.
The area that...
Oh,
the
hold
area-
on. You think that's bad? hold on. You think that's bad? We bought 4 planes.
Uh-huh.
4 planes.
4 planes, or is it 4...
4 planes. 2 Skyvans and 2. This is for the army, right? Couple of the planes were named after ministers. One is Moses Nagamutu. One is Winston Jordan. Moses Nagamutu, Winston Jordan. The other one is Basil Williams. People who had absolutely nothing to do. Because how do we know? The folks in the army come back and they say that.
As
there's
it
our
is. No,
sources.
I'm always looking at the activities that was happening, the line by line, as they want to call it in
No,
Parliament
it's
today.
good. You see some laughter there. But if you're just missing it, it is what
yeah,
it is. And
yeah, but so questions were asked in different areas and roadways and stuff like that. So the Honorable Minister is referring to Cemetery Road, Lincoln Boulevard, Mocha. So he said between that road they'll do some construction, but apparently if they don't have a name for the road, then I suggest you name it the Nigel Darmlal Road.
Well, I can think about a couple of things. You can imagine, so if there's a Gildarie living through there, or if there's
You remember you built a road in Diamond? We asked if we could rally it for you to get it named the Gildarie Street.
So I called David Patterson. I sent a picture to him. Every week is me and the PR people till I think they got tired of me, and I think they gave up. They said, "This boy ain't gonna do that." Same thing I did for the housing. When I wanted a house lot, every single day with a particular minister. Minister, when I'm gonna do that? Until eventually they said, "Come, Gildarie, come." You tormented me, and that's how I ended up in my house lot. But it was so many years ago. That's several years, not now. I'm not good with any minister right now. Right about now, we holding the feet to the fire. Not only the ministers, all politicians, we want to make sure that they represent the people in the right way, whether you're in the parliament, whichever office that you hold, that you are representing the people. Don't forget, it's 233,000 persons voted for the People's Progressive Party Civic, 217,000, this is according to the recount, and 217,000 for the opposition coalition. So you have big numbers there, and you have to represent the people. You cannot have walkouts and things like that. Let's have a chat. Let's trash it out in this room right now, and let us move this country forward. We won't have anything. This is not the politics of the oil. We are in the oil industry right now, and you need people who have all hands on deck right now too. It is true. If you can drive in Guyana, you can drive anywhere. And this person is saying, well, who do you think it's all of? Mostly Caribbean and international driving in New York. Try driving in GT and visit.
That's true.
I see some family come and they're sitting in the car. So I'm not sitting in front. I'm sitting at the back of the hole and I'm looking very nervous until they reach home. And when they reach home, they say what they want some rum. So, so that's it. So we have, good afternoon, sir. I would like you to get onto the PPP that we have in here. How are you? If they've forgotten about the people in Region 3, no hampers, no nothing. Did we support them for them to support persons who did not even vote for them? We are farming area too. We're expecting to see the agriculture ministry too. Is it reasonable that the people should be asked for? Yes. You put them in there. Is it timely? Should we give them some more time? Well, that may be another thing.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the plight of the people. I support the view if hampers are being given out and stuff like that. But a little bit of time. You got to understand that the ministers and their PS and their team has all been occupied within this period of time. I've got this question from a lot of persons asking me over the last few days. So, Riaz, is this normal how the parliament normally done? It's been like this all the time? You go line by line as we want to refer to us? I was like, yes, it's been like that, but we just have not been seeing it because it was never online, easily accessed all the time as it is. So I am going to not defend, but more try to adhere to people to give it a little bit of time. I understand the constraints, but for 6 weeks, a lot has been done within the period of time. And let me publicly say this, but I've said it again. I am not working with the government. I don't hold a government post. I'm not being paid by the government of Guyana. But all what I want to see is that everyone could have a better life, whether it happened tomorrow morning or it happened down the road. And we have to allow a process, I think. I respect the views of going some communities and not probably reaching into some communities, but we just got to give it a little bit of time. And I think the relevant ministers and their team will get to the necessaries. And then you see a lot is also stemmed on this budget passing in Parliament. I've witnessed some nurses and health officials at Region 3 went out on the streets and protest. I am in support of nurses and frontline workers 100%. But why didn't you go out 5 months prior to 6 weeks? Why wouldn't you go out then when you heard of $150 million will be coming to frontline workers? But it have to pass in Parliament. So I am support, but a bit astonished at the way and the timing that it was done. You were told that $150 million will go to frontline workers for all your great job that you're doing. And you're protesting now. You need to wait for the budget to pass. And the timings is just bad, in my opinion.
Okay, 2267453, 2267453. Let's go get those messages coming. 6222222. Send those messages there. And 2267453. We have a caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir. How
Good
are you doing?
afternoon to you.
I am okay, but please take a look at the banner old car we talking about.
You got an old car?
Yeah,
Not
buddy,
old
y'all
car.
left the
You
old
said
car
the
out there, you know.
Not no old car. Don't leave that yet. I hope you remember all that I have to say, but firstly, I am in a clinic at the hospital. I'm a college. And I believe that's the problem with gangs. If you believe these people doing just us a favor, so we approach them first. And I remember one day I was sitting there, I second in the line, so I started getting to work. And I saw people coming in and the nurse passed me and doctor called in. So when after the first one, the second one, when they go in, I go in and go and sit on the chair. And the doctor said, you can't tell me you come to see the person. You're working here today, you got to look after me. You know, I got to. The point I'm making is that is what happened at all these clinics. But my wife is in another clinic. She called me, took an hour from work. When I go back and nurse said she got to wait, she got to wait. And I say, throw her off. The point is these people operate like, you know, you begging them for a little service, something, wherever that is, date person thing you're begging for. And that's what keeps happening. We have beaten up on the government, our government, and rightfully so. We have beaten up on the contractors, rightly so. But one of the things that we miss is these people that oversee in these contracts. I from Region 3. And in the FC, I got a position. I thought it was a big position. There's no paid position, but I was overseeing a lot of projects. I had to stop because I was doing a good job, but I wasn't being paid. So at the end of the day, I found that I could have been susceptible to bribes. A lot of these people that they put to oversee these big contracts work for like $100,000 a month. Well, if a contractor pays you down with $10 million, well, what is there to stop you from not approving it? If you want these people to look over these projects like Exxon, like the airport, like the road contract, you have to pay them properly. It's human beings, and that is the problem we have in this country, sir.
Yeah, but you come back to the other issue there too. I'm not sure what you would say to this. How
Yeah.
how much money would you pay to a policeman for him not to take bribe?
No, here's the thing. Remember I told you about me.
Right.
I left. The point I'm making is if you are not susceptible to bribe, you will never be susceptible to bribe.
Right.
So I understand your point. My point is we have to bring back the buck to the bureaucrats. Not always politicians are wrong or the contractors are wrong. These people that are in positions that are doing these jobs, that are taking bribes, they got to be skinned up. If you know you couldn't take the job for the money, leave it. I understand it and I agree with that. Most of our engineers are on the roads with these road projects. And when these roads finish in a year and a half, you wonder what they approve. I was at one meeting in Region 3, and the contractor was actually abusing the people when they were talking to them and asking them questions, and I had to object and put them to sleep, and then started listening to the people. But the point is, the many people on the government who were supposed to be looking after the contract are looking over the contractors, do not do their job. Some of them don't even show up because it's the money limit or whatever. Even if that is the case, pay them a little better. But the point is, the bureaucrats have to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
You can't always blame contractors. You can't always blame what these people name the government.
Right.
Look how many people are at the airport all the time. The head of the airport didn't see what's going on wrong all these years. All the people working, they didn't see that.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? He didn't know. You mean with them, I'm the head of the airport, and I don't know what this company is supposed to be doing at the airport, and they weren't doing it. That's the problem. We can't just say the APNO or the ACVP. Everybody has to fault at the airport, particularly because...
Well, I think that's what the president made it very, very clear. He says everybody is to be blamed for this.
Yeah, and I think he did say that everyone is now accountable, as it is. But the gentleman is making a very valid,
good point.
very valid points.
I agree with him.
I agree. I mean, and this is what. Don't get the views of me wrong in some cases. If I'm seeing something is not happening, I'll speak out against it.
Absolutely.
Look, for instance, as you little bit know, there's a hole that just punctured one of my old car yesterday. The old car park home, right? And there's the next old car. Don't worry, a old car.
How much old car you got?
A couple of old cars, man.
Right,
It's old
that's
car.
But Gary, I can listen for y'all off here. Have a good day. I hope you're getting better, Mr.
Yeah, man. I feel you know I'm
Gildarie.
feeling as if I didn't have it. But you feel tired from time to time. I think there's a
And Mr. Riaz, please remember, don't do it. I used to do it for years. Stop apologizing. I mean, Mr. Riaz, stop apologizing. If you think I have a view, you don't have to explain you don't work with the government. Who want to assume what
No,
they
you
want?
see, there's always this critical angle, right? They may hear, I may come say something at some point. Oh, well, they make that presumption, but I've never been working with the government. I've never been, if I did services for the government for a project or something, that's it. But, you know, at the end of the month, but there's a bad hole at Lamaha Street before. That is the stoplight by
Albert Street.
That's the stoplight by Albert Street. It is this bad that it blow my tire out. And I'm going like about 45, but I just couldn't go right or I couldn't go left because there's an incoming vehicle, and I assumed that I passed it and I dropped straight into it, and my right wheel had it. You know.
All right,
so
then.
please fix that, dear Honorable Minister. Take out something from somewhere and fix the little deep hole. It's relatively deep. I am very serious. It's at least 8 inches. You know
Right.
about that.
In the meantime, here, this is the Minister of Education would be coming out with a statement with regard to the CSEC and the Cape. This morning, we would have read to you, or this afternoon, rather, a statement coming out from the ministry. The actual minister is coming out now. This is Priya Manik-Chan with regard to CSEC and the Cape issues. And this is what she had to say. You would recall that there's some unhappiness with some of the grading for those Cape students as
Yes,
well
I
as
saw that.
as well as a CSEC student. This is what the minister says. I've personally spoken to CXA on the matter. It's causing distress, which is regrettable, especially for the students involved who are already stressed in this year of the pandemic. However, it's necessary to balance the desire of our students to be fairly treated with recognition of the fact that it's critical for queries of this nature to be dealt with through approved and well-defined channels if the integrity of the body that the majority of the citizens of the Caribbean region use for certification is to be maintained. Fair enough. Certainly, many persons can and will sign an online petition once they disagree with an assigned grade. This petition is circling the region. In Trinidad, over 23,000 candidates sat CXC exams. In Jamaica, over 60,000. This equates to 300,000 subject entries that can be queried in those two countries alone, with statistics from Barbados, Guyana, etc., not being quoted here. The online regional petition, gathering on 12,000 signatures then, can be understood contextually. Though no institution can reasonably use that as a basis for review of all grades, it does, however, raise awareness of the matter and indicate to CXC that the issue must be addressed to put to rest troubling questions and concerns that are shared across the region. On the issues of the SBA scores, SBAs are scored by individual class teachers, and these scores are submitted to CXC for moderation, which means that what was submitted by the school may not be the actual score recorded by CXC for the students and be used to determine the overall grade. A statement by CXC is forthcoming, and we in the TT, well, this is coming from TTT, Trinidad and Tobago, not our local. This is Trinidad and Tobago. We in Trinidad and Tobago eagerly await the elucidation of the complex issues surrounding the matter, even as we advise schooling individuals to follow the established procedures to make the necessary queries. The Ministry of Education will take all required steps to ensure that this issue is adequately addressed. And this is coming from Trinidad and Tobago Ministry of Education. My apologies, it's from them. And so we would have had a Ministry of Education statement a little early to saying that the government of Guyana is talking to those people across there. So this is a big issue that is continuing to dominate the news at the moment. There's a lot of angry.
Yeah, it's been dominating a lot. It's big on social media altogether too.
Right,
I've seen
right.
a lot of parents, very upsetting parents, made their post and their views altogether. So I'm sure that the authorities need to look into that as fast as possible, because it is a matter of great concern.
I saw some people talking about there were tears in some students' eyes. Teachers were complaining, tears in their eyes.
As a matter of fact, I did saw a teacher made a post also.
Right.
As in, he's supporting the views of the students and not CSEC.
No, because if
I
you-
did saw that post. I'm not going to mention the new teacher now, but I did saw that post sometime in the course of last night. Yes, I did.
You see, well, I think what is angering a couple of people if you're teaching, you're teaching at a particular school, and for year after year, you know what is coming, what is going. And
Right.
if you would have marked SBAs, which takes up a specific part of your final score that you're gonna get, and you know what the students, so all they gotta do, and you know these are bright students, you've been grading
You've
them,
been
you've been
grading
testing
them,
them.
you've been testing them. Exactly.
So what you have happening here right now, rightfully some teachers say based on the projection, this thing is not looking good. So something is wrong. I'm not sure if it's a glitch in the system, maybe a computer went wrong, because these things it's computers and so on.
Somebody
So,
just made a funny on the live.
right.
Somebody just made a funny on the live.
Okay.
They wanted to know if Mingo was involved.
There's somebody Mingo-wise this thing, and I can't say anything. This matters before the court at the moment with Mr. Mingo. I can't say the man is innocent or to prove him guilty and let the people.
Oy.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Leonard. I'm from the Blackbush Polder. We do not have landline services in there, even though GT&T has a monopoly and has it for years. Yeah, Ghana gave it GT&T and me. I
That's
think
you-
it'll stick
that's
me up
you-
to another thing.
that's
For
your
about a
favorite.
week, yeah. For about a week now, our only internet service, Atlantic Wireless Network, stopped working due to the tower problems. That's our main source of internet access, except the data plan, which consumes a large amount of data. Right now, students and teachers are finding it hard to get in contact with each other. We cannot do Zoom lessons. Our students here are missing out so much. I hope that the Ministry of Education can look into this to collaborate with GT&T and Digicel to provide affordable plans for the teachers and students. They could probably make apps like Google Classroom, email, etc., free of cost. So I thank you very much for that. And these are the kind of things that I like seeing for this coming from our people. Do you have another caller in the air? Yes. Good afternoon, caller. You in the air?
Hello, good afternoon. This is Kaieteur.
Yes, it is, and you are in the air. Go right ahead.
Yes, I have a complaint. I call from there. We're not getting water. Daytime is only in the night, and you look like you have to sleep in the day and work in the night because
Oh,
it's
my
from
God.
4 o'clock in the morning, the pipe cutting off and coming at 8 o'clock. And
Did you ask them what happened? What happened there? Did you try to find out from them what happened?
Water pressure low.
Did you try to find out from the GWI what happened there?
No.
Call them and find out. In the meantime, I'm going to send it to the minister there and see what happens there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, dear. So you said dairy? Dairy, you said?
Dairy.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. In the meantime, let me see a couple more messages before we go back to the line. We winding down. We have a couple minutes. I want to say good day to the Barbies folks there. Somebody called me a lady that says that I'm her son. That whenever I go to Barbies now, I have so much mothers now, so much fathers, so much
mean,
brothers and
Once
sisters.
they
I must
cook
get
in,
some cousins and
once
so
they
now.
cooking and stuff,
Yeah.
it's they're very lovely people. So Raj, you could get some nice
Yeah, we're
burgers.
gonna take Raj up in Barbies.
Bunjal duck.
Right. But the lady says that, you mention all the places, you forget 58 Village. I just said, oh my God. In my mind, I'm thinking, why would I remember 58 Village? But I'm going to remember 58 Village now. All the folks down there in 58 Village, I want to say good day to you. I want to say good day to that good lady who has been calling me and says that I've forgotten her. I haven't forgotten you. It's just that I have so many mothers. I'm taking them one by
and
one.
that she
I have
probably
a
give
good
us
excuse here, right?
Bunjal duck sometime.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
we
And we're
go
going to
there.
come for that one child dog. But it is. Let me see what they have here. This is coming here. Okay. 1 second. Okay. I used to live. Okay, good. Keep up the good works. God bless. Mr. Gildarie, how are we going to go get this money that is $25,000? They're going to announce it with this $25,000. This is an issue that was raised. They are announcing it. So stand by for that. The budget is the budget debates, the estimates, and everything is going to be ending up tomorrow. And let's say that ends up tomorrow. The documents are going to be before the president desk maybe in a couple of days. And so he signs off on that, and so we're going to hear some announcements coming from the various ministry at that point in time. So let's hope they do it fast, quickly, because people have been asking. Good afternoon to us all as well. One of the questions: do you think it's fair that public servants not getting retroactive, no retro this year? Mr. Leonard, things are so expensive, and single parents out there working, we're looking out for a little bonus. It's so unfair. I'm not sure about what is the situation with this. This government, I think in the past, and even the other government, they would come up from time to time, and for the army and so on.
Well,
for
I
the
know they
public
did say
servants.
the army was getting
Let's not put it
tax free,
right.
but I
The
guess
public
we,
servants. Let's see what happened. I think they are looking at a couple of things. One of the things that I understand from a good source of mine is they're looking at this whole vehicle arrangement. And before we go back to the calls, one of the things about the vehicle arrangement is that right now, if you bring in a 1500 cc, and those who are familiar with vehicles would know, Riaz, you would know, you charge about $1 million thereabouts for the duty and
Correct.
taxes or so. If
Correct.
you go up to 2000 cc, it's like about $2.2 million.
2.250 to be
2.250,
exact.
you know, and I think we have the idea. The minute that you go over 2000 cc, the taxes and the duties jumped about $6 million at
Correct.
least. Now, what the government is thinking of, they're not looking anymore at the size of vehicles. They're going to be looking at the price that you pay for it. So if a new vehicle, the higher the price, of course, is where the taxes are going to take.
Correct.
So I think they're looking at that kind of formula. And let me tell you this, if that's the case, I'm a little worried because everybody can jump and go buy a vehicle, which is what they're entitled to. But it's going to make it very much more affordable.
Yeah,
We
but-
could be able to buy.
You know, some of them old vehicles, though, them old cars get heavy price right now, more than them new cars. I want you to know, though.
Yeah, it depends. You know, I think you're talking, you're a sports car kind of guy. But do we have another caller? on the
No, but
air?
that's
Yeah.
a formula that we wait to look at.
Good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm calling from Parika and I call for find out this public assistance rate. I have the farm child.
Public assistance for what? For one child?
I got a disabled child
Yes. Okay.
and I want to know if the public assistance rate.
I think they're looking at something right now. I can't remember if they would have raised it, but what you could do, I think there's some ways that you could tap into some other areas. So check with the Ministry of Human Services. You have to check with them.
They
Yes.
go tell me.
Yeah. Go right there and tell them that you were trying to find out because there's some other programs. A lady called yesterday, and I told them what they got to do. You know, there's a whole bunch of programs for single moms and persons with disabilities and so on. There's a whole bunch of programs that's out there for them. So we need to talk to the ministries and see what you could tap into. It's not only to the monthly thing, but there's things you could actually start a business and so that you could be entitled to.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, okay, sir.
God bless you. God, bye. So we coming down. We got a couple more minutes. So let's see if there's any other thing that we could read to the people. Hi, Leonard. How are you feeling? I'm a pensioner. When you go to the GPHC, they do not have adequate medication. Most of the time, you have to purchase with your small pension. This is something that was addressed by the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony. He said when they went in to office in early August, and they did an assessment, they find out that many health centers, many of the hospitals were short of drugs, essential drugs. And people were complaining things like diabetes. If you're suffering from that and you wanted insulin, even insulin was short.
Yeah, I heard that today again by line. Also, I've been following it quite a lot. I heard that again from Honorable Minister Nigel Darmlal. He was being questioned.
Did you say horrible, Minister?
Honorable.
Sorry, I gotta be thinking. My ears are blocked up, you know.
The
Gotta be very
wax.
careful. Yes, I gotta be something. But I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, but it is indeed true.
And he was alluding to that same point because they were at that time they were dealing with Region 3. So he was making a lot of reference to it. We've heard in during the budget presentation about these same issues. So you know it's task that we will need to hold the current administration accountable to
Let me tell you this.
restructure all these agencies.
I'm not envious at all of the tasks that these ministers get. They can get a lot of costs.
Yeah, they got a
It
big
is a
task.
very uphill.
It's an uphill task.
This pandemic is a nightmare for any government. That's one.
Yep.
Two, what is said that they would have gone in there and found, I think, but they have signed up for this. So
Of course.
and I think it
course.
comes with the territory that the politicians would know that they're going to be under pressure from day one. I think finally, I'm surprised that with the speed that the president and these guys are working with, but I'm saying also that the people have a right to make demands because they have expectations. Are their expectations realistic? So we'd have to ask those questions as we go along. So I think we go back to the line. Let's take a couple callers. I really love our people today. We missed that one there. 226-7453. Send those messages 62222. We got a couple more minutes yet. We want to push in those callers and you guys come through. Let's hear from you guys and let's hear what is happening. 2.2, $2.5 million,
So you're going to buy
2.25
one of the
million.
2.5 Prado?
You gotta be good. I'm gonna be making some calls. I'm gonna be having a very
Because
serious
one of the Prado
conversation.
is probably about 12 million. And
That
there's
is
about.
without taxes.
And that's without.
No, that is without
And
taxes, my
then,
friend.
so you getting it for 2.5? We're part, man. I mean, me get the money for
I'm
buy it,
gonna be
but
having a very serious conversation with my boss
well, I
today.
want to see if I can talk to you, boss, as well. If you,
You
give
can
both
talk
of
to
we, both of we alone to buy a Prado at 2.5.
I don't know what it is. I'm feeling all excited. Raj, I invite you to do that. Do we have another call in line? Yes. Good afternoon, caller. Where are these callers here today, man? You guys hanging up? 226-7453. Let us get a couple those callers in. And so if you're not joining us, it's a Wake Up Guyana show. And you're with your host, Leonard Gildarie, and W.R. Riaz, who's keeping us as a guest. And so we do happen to have another call. Go right ahead, caller.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr.
How are you
Gildarie.
doing? Yes, it
Good
is.
afternoon.
I just want to bring to your attention, I did complain about Fort Wellington Hospital with these doctors. My son-in-law is sick. I went to the hospital
When was that?
yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Well, we went before the day, and they did a blood test. So diagnosed really what he's sick with. But their behavior was not nice talking to you. I mean, you just can't judge. You know that the coronavirus is around. But you can't just look at somebody and assume and say it's coronavirus, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he went and do a blood test. Tell him to go back yesterday to uplift his results. When we go there, we went there like 8 o'clock in the morning. Around 11 o'clock, we find out what's going on. They said that the day shift that did the test, left it for the night shift. The night shift, leave it for the crew to take on the next morning. So no result was done.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to wait there like till about 2 o'clock yesterday before we got the results.
Mm-hmm.
When the results come out, okay, they said that he get malaria.
Mm-hmm.
So we went into the hospital. The doctor checked it and so on, said, okay, well, you get some other tests to run again. And so we went for another test. So we wait the next hour. We was there till up to 4 o'clock. So the hour passed, we go again, it's the next half an hour. So we were there waiting all the time. Till about 5 o'clock, then the results come out. They said his blood gone low, and we have to take him, they transfer him to New Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to say is that they're spending a lot of time on their phone than doing the work that they're supposed to be doing. You understand?
And where the supervisors? We don't have supervisors there, or is it?
I don't know the supervisor because I'm from Upper Borbis River. We came out here to spend some time, and he fell sick.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the things that I see happening. It is not nice to just discriminate people and say, man, look, the coronavirus you get and a whole set of low talk and doubting you when you tell them your feelings. And no, sometimes they say the same time it's just the same. But running a test would show you exactly you get malaria, you get typhoid, or you get dengue, whatever is it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So one of the doctor, Chinese man, is there. He was very patient and courageous, and he helped us. He said, "Look, don't worry them. We're gonna try to see when the test come, bring it to me, and we're gonna try to treat him for it." So he did that, and he sent me across to New Amsterdam.
Uh-huh.
But the New Amsterdam people, they test him again and see that indeed is the malaria. So he got admitted there last night.
All right, great. And we are going to come, because that's one of the problems that we face in almost every government institution kind of attitude. It's like a culture. It's a cultural thing, as if when you go in there,
Yeah,
you get caught up with it. It's not your business. If you run your business, it's a different thing. When you were running government business, you don't become like a sickness.
Yeah, that is true. I don't like that attitude. You got people waiting long, and them stuff them there, you know.
Well, they should
and
have
I understand that they're planning a protest because I see on one of them table they had some black cards, so I don't know what is it all about.
Yeah, they're protesting maybe for salary or something.
They're just wasting time, or what is it? Wasting time, I call it, because you got the people waiting and them stuff them, you know.
All right, I hear you. Thank you very much, my brother. God bless.
Okay, you take care.
All the people down in the Fort Wellington, West Babisa area, good day to you guys. And of course, we head straight across to Region 9, Region 7, Region 8, Region 6, Region 5. I want to say good day to the Lake Wayaka people there. I think it is Lake Wayaka, or the Wayaka area, Lake Mainstay, Kapui area, Region 2. If you don't know your places, you start getting yourself acquainted. Some very beautiful places that we have in Guyana. You go up to the Pomeroon. I hear Jacklow Landing. I think somebody would have texted me from almost from there as well. They're getting us loud and clear. I want to say good day to you guys. Be very careful in the Pomeroon River, beautiful area. I want to say good day to Juice Man. I want to say good day to Mr. Falkak Ramatar, and he knows who he is. One of the rice farmers across there. He's also involved in coconut farming and so many other farming. If you want to talk to him, he's also a contractor. Get himself involved in so many things. If you talk to him about farming, he's going to tell you he has the best rice heel. He has a big mouth. I think he's almost as has a big mouth as Glenn Lal. Two men that I think if they catch up and they gotta get wired, there's gonna be big wire in the place. So good day to you, Mr. Glenn Lal. We always like to poke you with fun because you have a good sense of humor as well. But when it comes to business and the people's business, you're as serious as anybody could be. So we come down. We have come down to that time where we say goodbye. It has been a pleasure.
Yeah, just before we go quickly, as we always go, quick to just 2 quick points for someone here. There's a person asking, Nanda is asking, why doesn't local government, I'm assuming, let's use the word government, pass down the information for the various ministries and communities and to the general public where they could go for certain help and so forth? Another person saying it's there on their web pages. Yes, I am thinking that they normally do these things, but does that the public
they have a big issue right now
in terms of getting to the right, because we've noted some name changes, some portfolios maybe shifting around.
No, they have a big issue
so
right
I
now.
think the public need to know where they need to go for certain things indeed.
The nightmare that you have right now is not about the money that they have or the hampers to share out. Is who do you share it to?
Yeah.
So the logistics, what they
no, that wasn't what they're asking. I know that's a nightmare. What they're trying to ask is if they need assistance, where they should go, that governments should make these info more public. Someone is saying that it's on various websites for various ministries. But I think you need, and I know they will do a PR campaign soon to educate the nation, but just give it a little bit of time. But the one person is trying to say is that if you need assistance, where directly you to go. I think they're working on all these things. Sad that you didn't complain a couple of years back. You now starting to complain. I saw a couple of persons asking that as well. It is sad that you were not being so boldly enough and open to complain.
Well,
5
the fact
months or
is that,
6 months.
when you're in desperation mode, you don't really care. You're going to complain.
Yeah,
The people complain.
give it a little bit of time, and the necessary information will go public, I'm assuming.
So thank you very much. This has been a wrap. This is the Wake Up Guyana show with your host Leonard Gildarie, and we would have had our guests be coming and keeping our company here on the Wake Up Guyana show on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5. You could relook at this show here on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. So until then, we're going to be back tomorrow, and we're going to be telling you some more developments that is coming out from the school issue here with the CXC and the CAPE and the CSEC examination results come out. Lots of upset students in Guyana here, and the government is looking into the matter. They've already started engaging CXC. That's a big story. The other big story, where do you get to buy a $2.5 million Prado? That is 2016. How could you be able to get that? Don't ask me. I have absolutely no idea. With that being said, have a very pleasant rest of the day. Until we back tomorrow, same place, same time. Thank you very much to the boys in the house. And a good day to our guys in the newsroom downstairs. Kaieteur newspaper, your favorite newspaper, the biggest selling newspaper in Guyana. Have a pleasant rest of the day. Until.